Students, to close this overall topic of the internet and the different types of networks, let's look at the internet standard and the internet administration as well. Students, the internet standard is a set of specifications that every single organization, every single company that is deploying the internet or using the internet needs to adhere to. A set of specs, a set of rules that everybody needs to follow. Students, एक slide की जानिब चलेंगे और एक figure के जरिए we'll try to find out how does this internet standard come into play, how we reach to a stage where we have got an agreed and deployable internet standard. All right, so students, as you can see, the internet standard, it starts with an internet draft. Students, the internet draft is what its name states. It is a draft. It is a working document that is presented by a specific organization that's normally doing the research. It's got no official status, and the internet draft is normally there for a lifespan of only 6 months. Now, students, this internet draft, it can be published using something that we call as a request for comments, RFCs. Students, each RFC has got different maturity levels. If you look at the lifespan of an RFC, request for comments, once again, from an internet draft, we get to the proposed standard. Students, the proposed standard is a spec that is stable. It is understood by the subject matter experts and is of interest to the wider community. Students, within 6 months and at least 2 deployments, the proposed standard is then converted into a draft standard. Once again, 4 months and 2 implementations of a draft standard, it gets converted into an internet standard finally. Students, as you can see, the proposed standard can also be converted directly into a historic standard. Means there is no relevance of that standard anymore. It has already expired or it is not used. In essence, it is only significant from a historical perspective because we have got later discoveries or we have got later standards that have already superseded these historic standards. So a proposed standard can actually go and become a historic standard if it's no longer relevant. Similarly, a draft can go and become a historic if it's no longer relevant. Similarly, students, there are some RFCs which are experimental. Means these RFCs are classified as informational, experimental only, and they describe the work related to an experimental situation only, not relevant to anybody else. There are some RFCs which are termed as informational. What it means is that an RFC is, in general, either historic or it's only for tutorial purposes only. Students, a little bit about the administration of the internet. Who administers the internet? Who controls the internet? Who creates these RFCs and the standards? So once again, in the slide, you can see that the topmost organization that provides support for these internet standard process is called ISOC, or Internet Society. Now, students, the Internet Society works with the Internet Architecture Board, or IAB, which is basically a technical advisor to ISOC. The main purpose of IAB, or Internet Architecture Board, is to oversee the continuing development of the basic specs of the internet and specifically the TCP/IP suite. Students, the Internet Architecture Board has got 2 primary components: the IRSG, which is the Internet Research Task Force, and the IETF, which is the Internet Engineering Task Force. The IETF, it is basically the Internet Engineering Task Force, and it's a forum of different working groups that are managed by the IESG, Internet Engineering Steering Group. Students, the Internet Research Task Force, once again, is a forum of working groups that are managed by the Internet Research Steering Group. So each of the IRTF and IETF has got its own steering groups. And under that, you can have multiple work groups and multiple research groups that cover different areas that contribute to the research and development of the internet. So students, this concludes our discussion of the internet. We have gone through the different types of networks. We have looked into local area networks and wide area networks. And then we found out how these networks are interjoined together to form an internetwork. And then we look into the specifications of the specific network that we deal with today on a daily basis, day in, day out, the internet. Thank you very much.